There's something deeply transformative about realizing that everything you experience in life, both what you love and what you fear, originates from within. Carl Jung dedicated his life to unraveling the mysteries of the human mind, showing us that the key to solving our problems isn't found outside of ourselves, but rather within, in the vast universe of our inner being. Every experience you go through, every challenge you face, is a doorway to deeper knowledge about who you are. Jung taught us that the unconscious is not just a storage room for repressed memories or unresolved emotions, but an inexhaustible source of wisdom and guidance. Yet, in the rush to survive in the modern world, we've lost touch with that part of ourselves. We distract ourselves with external noise, chasing quick fixes to complex problems without pausing to hear the silent voice of our inner being. Imagine for a moment that your problems aren't obstacles to avoid, but messages to interpret. Perhaps that toxic relationship that seems impossible to resolve is merely a reflection of an unhealed wound within you. Or maybe that constant sense of dissatisfaction at work isn't a sign of failure, but an invitation to explore your true passions. Jung showed us that each hardship is actually a disguised teacher, calling us to look inward and rediscover the parts of ourselves we've forgotten or ignored. There's something deeply transformative about realizing that everything you experience in life, both what you love and what you fear, originates from within. Carl Jung dedicated his life to unraveling the mysteries of the human mind, showing us that the key to solving our problems isn't found outside of ourselves, but within, in the vast universe of the unconscious. Every experience you go through, every challenge you face, is a doorway to deeper knowledge about who you are. Jung taught us that the conscious mind isn't merely a storage room for repressed memories or unresolved emotions, but a limitless source of wisdom and inner direction. Still, in our rush to survive the modern world, we've lost our connection to that part of ourselves. We get distracted by the noise around us, looking for fast solutions to deep problems, without stopping to listen to the quiet voice within. Imagine, just for a moment, that your problems aren't barriers to overcome, but coded messages waiting to be understood. Maybe that toxic relationship that seems unsolvable is only a mirror of an internal wound still waiting to heal. Or maybe that constant dissatisfaction with your job isn't a sign of failure, but a clear call to explore your authentic path. Jung reminded us that every difficulty is a veiled mentor, inviting us to turn inward and rediscover forgotten parts of our soul. Most people take the easier path. They ignore these inner signals and continue trapped in routines that leave them unfulfilled. But you're not here to settle. You're here because you know there's something more, something calling you from the deepest part of your being. And while this path is not easy, Jung reminds us that it's the only one truly worth taking. True growth happens when you dare to walk into the unknown, that place where you confront your fears, your doubts, and your shadow. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also transformative, because in that process of inner exploration, you discover not just who you are, but who you can become. Think back to those moments in life when everything felt out of control. Maybe it was a breakup, a painful loss, or an unexpected change. Those moments, though full of pain, are actually doorways to deeper self-understanding. Jung said, "There's no awakening of consciousness without pain." But that pain is not a punishment. It's a gift, a chance to free yourself from what no longer serves you and create space for something new. The problem is that as humans, we fear the void. We cling to the familiar, even when it harms us, rather than letting go and facing the uncertainty. But here's the secret Jung wanted us to discover. The void isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. It's in that emptiness where the magic happens, where something new can blossom, and where you can begin to live a life that truly reflects who you are. The unconscious also expresses itself through the people we attract into our lives. Have you noticed how certain patterns repeat in your relationships? Maybe you always end up surrounded by people who drain you more than they nourish you. Or maybe you face constant struggles with someone who seems to reflect your deepest fears. This is no coincidence. According to Carl Jung, the people who appear in our lives, especially those who trigger us emotionally, are mirrors of our unconscious mind. They reflect back to us the parts of ourselves that we have yet to acknowledge, accept, or integrate. These individuals and the conflicts they stir up aren't random. They are deeply symbolic. They serve as signposts pointing toward inner work that is still unfinished. So, the next time you find yourself caught in a conflict or trapped in a pattern of recurring problems, don't rush to assign blame or escape the discomfort. Instead, pause, reflect. Ask yourself, what is this situation revealing about me? What hidden aspect of myself is being brought into the light? And perhaps most importantly, what lesson is life trying to teach me here? Jung emphasized that one of the most powerful steps towards self-awareness is the act of letting go. Often, we cling to relationships, jobs, identities, or belief systems simply because they feel familiar, even if they no longer resonate with who we are becoming. We stay out of fear. Fear of change, fear of the unknown, fear of being alone or failing. But when you hold on to something that no longer serves you, you close the door to what's meant for you. You block new energy from flowing into your life. However, the moment you choose to release what's outdated, you send a powerful message to your unconscious mind. I am ready for something better. And like a ripple effect, life begins to respond. Suddenly, the right people start appearing. Opportunities that once seemed unreachable begin to unfold in front of you. It might feel like magic, but it's not. It's the direct result of inner transformation. By aligning your energy with your truth, you open yourself to possibilities that were always there, just waiting for you to see them. Jung reminded us that life isn't about chasing superficial happiness. It's about pursuing wholeness. And wholeness is only possible when you come back to yourself. Not just the version you show the world, but the full, complex, authentic self that includes your light and your shadow. It means telling the truth about what you really want, what you genuinely need, and what you are no longer willing to tolerate. Every day, you are offered the chance to make choices that reflect your inner truth. Choices that bring you closer to the life you truly want to live. But this path demands courage. It requires you to listen to that quiet inner voice, the one that has always been trying to guide you toward what elevates your spirit. When Jung spoke of personal transformation, he didn't speak from a place of idealism or false positivity. He spoke of a deep, often painful process, one that involves confronting the most hidden, denied, and disowned aspects of our psyche. Jung called this hidden part of ourselves the shadow. And what's most fascinating is that every human being has a shadow, without exception. The shadow contains everything we suppress or deny because it doesn't fit the image we want to present to the world. It might be fear, anger, jealousy, insecurity, or even talents and strengths we've never dared to claim. Why do we repress these parts? Because our upbringing, our society, and our internalized beliefs have taught us that some aspects of who we are simply not acceptable. But here's the truth. The shadow doesn't disappear just because we ignore it. On the contrary, the more you reject it, the more power it gains. And eventually, it begins to manifest in ways you can't control. Maybe you've noticed yourself reacting too strongly to minor situations, a simple comment triggering a wave of rage or shame. Or maybe you found yourself sabotaging your own goals and relationships time and time again without understanding why. These are all signs that your shadow is speaking, begging to be seen, heard, and integrated. Integrating the shadow is not easy, but it is absolutely essential if you want to live an authentic life. Jung teaches us that we cannot be whole until we accept every part of ourselves, both what we call good and what we call bad. Because in truth, those labels are just judgments. What you view as negative in yourself might actually be a hidden strength. And what you praise as positive might just be a mask you wear to be accepted. The first step in this process, according to Jung, is deep self-observation. This doesn't mean judging yourself or punishing yourself. It means looking inward with honesty and compassion. Ask yourself, what parts of me have I been avoiding? What emotions do I find difficult to face? What repeating patterns in my life are pointing me toward the same unresolved truth? These questions don't just bring awareness, they open the door to profound healing. One of Jung's most intriguing concepts is that of projection. He believed that what we cannot accept in ourselves, we unconsciously project onto others. That's why the people who irritate us the most, who challenge us, frustrate us, or even trigger us, are often mirrors of our own shadow. That arrogant person who gets under your skin may be reflecting your own denied need for self-worth. That colleague who always seems to push your buttons may be shining a light on your deepest insecurities. The important thing to understand is that these projections are not coincidences. They are invitations to grow. When you begin to view your external conflicts not as attacks, but as reflections, everything changes. You stop blaming the world, and you start taking responsibility for your own inner landscape. This isn't about justifying others' behavior. It's about discovering what their presence is revealing about you. And this shift in perception is incredibly liberating, because when you stop being a victim of circumstance and begin to see yourself as the author of your own story, you take back your power. You begin to live from a place of conscious choice rather than unconscious reaction. Jung's answer is clear. With courage and self-acceptance, the journey begins. The first step is recognizing the existence of the shadow. This acknowledgement can be unsettling, even painful, because it means facing the parts of yourself you've long tried to ignore. The insecurities, the suppressed emotions, the impulses you judge as shameful or unacceptable. But it's essential to understand something fundamental. Your shadow is not your enemy. It's not some external threat to be defeated or eliminated. Rather, it's a hidden part of you that longs to be accepted, understood, and even loved. Once you recognize its presence, the next step is observation. Watch how the shadow shows up in your everyday life. What emotions do you suppress when they arise? What automatic thoughts hold you back? Which situations trigger strong, even irrational reactions? Each one of these moments is not random. They are clues. Clues that lead you to the deepest parts of your psyche, revealing hidden wounds, unresolved fears, and repressed desires. These observations don't just offer insight, they open the door to a profound transformation. But transformation requires more than just awareness. It demands radical self-acceptance. Jung famously said, "What you resist persists. What you accept transforms." This means that as long as you're fighting your shadow, denying it, or pretending it doesn't exist, it continues to control you from behind the curtain. It shapes your decisions, your relationships, and your inner world. But when you stop fighting it and begin to accept it as a natural part of who you are, you loosen its grip. You no longer act from a place of fear, shame, or anger. You begin to act from authenticity, from balance. This is not a quick fix. It is a lifelong journey. There will be highs and lows, breakthroughs and setbacks. But every single step you take toward embracing your shadow brings you closer to wholeness. And something remarkable begins to happen. Your relationships improve, your decisions become wiser, and the problems that once seemed insurmountable start to resolve themselves, not through force, but through inner clarity. And the beauty of this process is that it doesn't just change you, it changes the world around you. When you dare to live authentically, you give others permission to do the same. Your transformation becomes a catalyst, a ripple that spreads through your environment, subtly shifting the energy of those you interact with. Jung believed that real change in society begins with the individual. The courage to be whole, to integrate both light and shadow, can inspire communities and cultures to evolve, starting with you. To Jung, the ultimate goal of life was not superficial happiness, not the fleeting moments of pleasure that so many chase, but meaning. And that meaning is only found when you give yourself permission to be who you truly are, light and dark, strength and vulnerability, joy and sorrow. It's not about achieving perfection. It's about embracing the totality of your being. Because in the end, life is not about avoiding pain or conflict, but about learning, growing, and transforming through them. Jung understood better than most how difficult this process can be. He often described it as a confrontation with the self, a courageous and often painful encounter that demands honesty, introspection, and above all, patience. The self, according to Jung, is the central point of our entire being. It includes both our conscious identity and the vast realm of the unconscious. It is who we truly are, beyond the roles we play, beyond the masks we wear to fit in. But we cannot access the self directly. We must journey toward it through what Jung called the process of individuation. This process is the path to becoming whole. It involves peeling away the layers of cultural expectations, social conditioning, and limiting beliefs that we've accumulated over time. It's a return to the authentic essence that lies beneath all of that, a rediscovery of what makes you uniquely you. One of the greatest obstacles on this path is the ego. The ego is not inherently bad. In fact, it's a necessary part of our structure, but it often acts as a gatekeeper, afraid of change, afraid of losing control. It's the voice that says, "Don't go there. It's too dangerous," or "Don't look inside. You won't like what you find." Jung taught that we cannot destroy the ego, but we can transform it. We can stop treating it as a prison guard and start working with it, integrating it into a more expansive and balanced sense of self. Individuation isn't just an inward process, it's deeply connected to the outer world as well. Jung believed in the profound interconnection between the psyche and the world around us. The people we meet, the events we experience, even the seemingly random coincidences we encounter, all of these are expressions of our inner world manifesting externally. This brings us to one of Jung's most fascinating and revolutionary ideas: synchronicity. Synchronicity is the belief that certain events are not linked by cause and effect, but by meaning. It's that feeling you get when the universe seems to be speaking to you, when something happens at just the right time, in just the right way, to deliver a message your soul needed to hear. Maybe you're struggling, lost in confusion, and suddenly you stumble upon a book that speaks directly to your situation. Or you strike up a random conversation with a stranger and their words completely shift your perspective. Jung saw these moments as confirmations that you're aligned with your path, that your unconscious and the universe are in dialogue, guiding you toward evolution. But to notice these signs, you must be open. You must be quiet enough inside to hear the whisper of intuition. That subtle, persistent inner knowing is one of the most powerful tools we have. It doesn't come from logic or analysis. It arises from deep within, from the unconscious. And yet, in modern society, we're taught to ignore this voice. We're trained to rely solely on data, on facts, on rational explanations. Intuition gets dismissed as unscientific, unreliable. But Jung reminds us that intuition is not irrational, it is super-rational. It transcends the limitations of conscious thought, connecting us to a source of wisdom beyond the ego. To strengthen your intuition, you must practice listening. This can be as simple as taking a few minutes each day to sit in silence. Observe your thoughts. Tune in to your emotions. Ask yourself, what is my body trying to tell me? What feelings are surfacing? What patterns keep repeating in my mind? These practices deepen your connection to your inner world. They help you see the signs, the signals, and the nudges that guide you toward growth. And perhaps most importantly, they help you embrace one of the greatest truths Jung ever taught, that change is inevitable. He said, "The only constant in life is change. Resisting this flow only creates suffering. But when you allow life to move through you, when you say yes to the unknown, you begin to see that even the most painful experiences carry a purpose." Think back to a time when you faced a major loss, a devastating challenge. In the moment, it might have felt like the end of everything. But looking back, can you see how it shaped you? How it made you wiser, stronger, more compassionate? That's the essence of transformation. Every crisis, every breakdown contains the seed of renewal. What feels like an ending is often a beginning in disguise. This is the psychological process of rebirth, another core idea in Jung's work. Rebirth is not just a metaphor or a symbolic event. It is a lived, ongoing cycle of death and renewal. Each time you shed an old identity, each time you release a limiting belief, a toxic relationship, or a deep-rooted fear, you create space for something new to emerge. Carl Jung teaches us that the path to wholeness is not a fixed destination. It is a lifelong journey, a continuous process of inner exploration, learning, and transformation. This path is not always smooth or easy. In fact, it often challenges us, pushes us to our limits, and confronts us with aspects of ourselves we might prefer to ignore. But within this very process, there are also moments of deep meaning, unexpected joy, and powerful connection with ourselves, with others, and with something greater than us. Ultimately, what we are truly seeking is not the absence of problems, but the wisdom, strength, and grace to face them with courage and awareness. As you move forward in this unfolding journey of self-discovery and transformation, it is crucial to remember, you are not alone. Jung believed that we are all deeply connected through what he called the collective unconscious. This revolutionary concept suggests that beyond our individual experiences, there exists a shared reservoir of archetypes, symbols, and universal patterns that have been shaped and inherited by humanity throughout the ages. The collective unconscious is like an underground river, flowing beneath the surface of every human being, linking us to the ancestral wisdom and experiences of those who came before us. Within this collective unconscious live the archetypes, those fundamental images and ideas that appear across cultures, myths, religions, dreams, and stories. Jung identified many of them: the hero, the sage, the lover, the shadow, each representing essential aspects of the human experience. These archetypes are not confined to fairy tales or ancient myths. They are alive within us. When we confront challenges or major life transitions, these archetypes may emerge to guide us, support us, or challenge us. For instance, when you decide to face a deep fear, you are invoking the hero within, a force that compels you to rise above your limitations, confront the unknown, and uncover a braver, more resilient version of yourself. Yet archetypes can also be sources of inner conflict if we do not recognize or integrate them. Take the shadow, for example, one of the most complex and potent archetypes. If we remain unaware of our own shadow, the hidden, repressed, or denied parts of ourselves, it can begin to operate unconsciously, shaping our thoughts, behaviors, and emotional responses in destructive ways. We might find ourselves repeating the same painful patterns, sabotaging our relationships, or projecting our fears onto others. But when we summon the courage to face our shadow, to dialogue with it and understand it, we unlock its immense potential for personal growth, healing, and self-empowerment. One of the most fascinating dimensions of the collective unconscious is how it reveals itself through dreams. For Jung, dreams were not just random images or irrelevant thoughts. They were a bridge between the conscious mind and the deeper layers of the unconscious. In dreams, symbols and narratives emerge with purpose. They are messages from the depths of our psyche, trying to guide us, warn us, or awaken us. Water in a dream, for example, may represent emotions or the vast terrain of the unconscious. A house might symbolize your mind, with each room revealing a different aspect of yourself. These symbols, while deeply personal, also have roots in universal imagery embedded in the collective unconscious. Learning to interpret your dreams, Jung believed, is like learning a new language, one that connects you to the most ancient and wise parts of your being. But the work does not end with interpretation. Jung encouraged us to act on the messages found in our dreams. If a recurring dream points you toward a path you've never dared to consider, perhaps it's time to explore it. If a dream reveals a hidden fear or insecurity, then that is an invitation to confront it, to bring it into the light, and to transform it. Each time you take these steps, small as they may seem, you strengthen your relationship with your inner world and gain a deeper understanding of who you are. Over time, this connection to the unconscious becomes a powerful force in your life. It helps you live more intentionally, align with your true nature, and experience a greater sense of inner peace and authenticity. And yet, this journey of integration is not something you have to undertake in isolation. Jung deeply believed in the transformative power of human relationships. Every person you encounter, whether friend, partner, mentor, or even adversary, can serve as a mirror, reflecting parts of yourself you might not yet recognize. When someone inspires you, it may be because they embody an archetype you are yearning to awaken within yourself. On the other hand, when someone triggers anger, resentment, or frustration, they may be reflecting aspects of your shadow that need to be acknowledged and embraced. This way of looking at others doesn't mean we excuse harmful behavior or avoid holding boundaries. Rather, it invites us to use every interaction as an opportunity for greater self-awareness and growth. Imagine for a moment how your perspective on life would shift if you saw every relationship as a vital piece of your inner puzzle. Instead of resisting difficulties, you might embrace them with curiosity. Instead of running from conflict, you might lean into it, asking, "What can I learn from this? What is this experience trying to teach me?" As you commit to this inner work, you will begin to notice outward changes. Some relationships may naturally fall away as they no longer align with your evolving self, while new, more authentic connections begin to appear. Your priorities will shift. You may stop chasing goals that once seemed important, but no longer fulfill you, and begin to focus on what truly brings you joy, meaning, and a sense of purpose. This kind of transformation does not happen overnight. It is not the result of one great insight, but of many small, brave choices made again and again. And yet, each of those choices carries immense power. The legacy of Carl Jung is not just a set of psychological theories, it is a profound invitation to live more consciously, more truthfully, and more fully. He challenges us to turn inward, to explore our darkness, to trust our inner guidance, and to walk this path of transformation with humility and resolve. Remember, the journey toward wholeness is not a final destination, but a road you travel each and every day. And on that road, every problem you face, every shadow you integrate, every step you take toward your most authentic self is a profound victory. This journey is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming real. It is about living in harmony with who you truly are. As you continue walking this sacred path, never forget, even the smallest step taken in self-awareness is a radical act of courage. Embracing your shadow, listening to your dreams, and aligning with the collective unconscious are not only acts of personal transformation, they ripple outward and impact the world around you. Because when you dare to live with authenticity, you light a path that others can follow. Your growth is not just for you. It is a light for others, a quiet force of healing that touches lives in ways you may never fully see. Carl Jung taught us something profoundly transformative. The true purpose of life is not to avoid problems, but to learn from them. It's not about chasing perfection, but about discovering a deep sense of fulfillment through authenticity. And that journey begins with you, with every choice you make to look inward, to face your fears, and to embrace who you truly are beneath the surface. This process, though often uncomfortable and challenging, is the very path to liberation. It demands courage, honesty, and patience. But I promise you, it's worth every step. Because when you begin to reconnect with your essence, the truest version of yourself, everything in your life begins to align. Your relationships evolve, your decisions carry more clarity, and above all, you begin to cultivate an inner peace that no external circumstance can shake. So now, I invite you to reflect deeply for a moment. What part of your shadow are you willing to face today? What message has your intuition been whispering that you've chosen to ignore? And perhaps the most important question of all, what small, tangible step can you take right now that would move you closer to your truth? You don't need to have all the answers figured out. You don't need to see the entire path ahead. You just need to be willing to take the first step, to show up for yourself, to say yes to the journey of self-discovery and transformation. If this message resonates with you, then you are not alone. You are part of a larger movement, a community of people who are choosing to grow, to evolve, and to transform their lives from the inside out. Share this message with someone who might need to hear it. Because sometimes, just one sentence, one idea, one moment of connection can be the catalyst that completely changes someone's life. And if you feel called to, leave a comment below. Tell me what part of this message spoke to your heart, or what step you're willing to take today to begin your own process of healing and awakening. Your words won't just support your journey, they will inspire others who read them. You never know who might need to see your truth to awaken their own. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I warmly invite you to do so now. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming content. Every time you like, comment, or share this video, you're helping to spread this message to more souls who could benefit from it. Together, we can build a space where reflection, wisdom, and emotional connection become tools for profound change. Remember, change always begins with you. Every decision you make to grow, to face your fears, to live in alignment with your true self, that's not just personal evolution. It's a contribution to a more conscious and connected world. A world that needs more truth, more light, and more brave souls like you. This is your moment. Dare to be who you truly are. Because the world is in desperate need of more people who are willing to live with authenticity and courage. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And above all, thank you for being part of this family. I'll see you in the next video. I'll be waiting for you.